Welcome to Galactic Outpost Zeta, an extraordinary abode where the mysteries of the cosmos and the wonders of alien nature blend seamlessly. This house is more than just a dwelling, it's a portal to other worlds. Begin your adventure in the tactical base hidden in the basement, a covert hub for interstellar strategizing and planning. As you ascend to the top floor, you'll find a state-of-the-art lab brimming with high-tech gadgets and gizmos, perfect for conducting experiments that unravel the secrets of distant galaxies. But the real jewel of this outpost is the observatory atop, crowned with a magnificent glass dome. Here, gaze into the depths of the universe and let your imagination soar among the stars. The landscaping around the house is a living, breathing tribute to the extraterrestrial wonders, with alien-like plants gradually claiming the terrain, adding a touch of otherworldly charm. Hello and welcome back. So I'm excited today to go through what was my first build here on The Sims 4 in a couple of years. So I took a pretty large break from playing the game back in, I think it was 2021. I posted recently a renovation. Again, that was like 2 years ago that I did that renovation. So this was my first really true build after coming back to The Sims. I'm super excited to go over it because it is going to use primarily the pack that is, I think, one of the most controversial for Sims 4, which is Journey to Batuu. There are a lot of strong feelings about this where people just don't like it, and I kind of took that as a challenge to use that one up front right off the bat. So I ended up building it on this 40 by 30 lot in Willow Creek, and it is, of course, I want to start with saying that it is available on the gallery, so right here, Galactic Outpost Zeta, and you can find it Dr. Sims with 3 S's. And yeah, so all of the packs I used. I will say I really did learn a lot about different items from this build. I kind of did the kitchen sink with it for that particular reason. But let's dive in real quick. So this is the outside of the house. And right off the bat, you can see that I had a lot of fun. So I mentioned this alien garden, and I really wanted this concept of you have this terrain. I want to show it at nighttime. And it's kind of being overgrown and overtaken by these alien plants. And so I really like the storyline with you have some normal landscaping, but it's starting to get overgrown and overtaken with all of this extraterrestrial stuff going on. I added a nice little water feature with some fountains. I thought it was a really cool concept in theory. And so you can see I have this mixture of vines over here and then these kind of exotic looking vines. And I even tried to incorporate it with the water. So it's hard to see, but I actually have pink water here and I wanted it to match the vibe. Yeah, you can see it better in morning time of the vines seeping into the water and kind of contaminating it from the water over here. So I kind of went a little overboard, I think, with some of the details with this. But essentially, I wanted to kind of this landing pad on the outside here. And for some reason, this door is the same as these doors. It just doesn't show up sometimes. It's because it's on a circle. And when you do circles in Sims, you all know it gets kind of funky with some of that stuff. But I wanted this landing pad. So I pulled some of the Star Wars, land speeders and things like that. And put them on this landing pad that I had out here with the defense weapons of choice and everything. So I have a rocket ship over here in the backyard with some spare parts and trying to go for that junkyard vibe a little bit. And then I have this Jedi bench over here and a nice little seating area there. I was trying to think of using these tents as a way to make it more like an outpost kind of vibe to it. So that's what I was trying to do in the backyard with some of the items that I used. And this is kind of a planning tent of some sort, or somewhere you come to plan things. You have all the satellite dishes and everything over there. And then I just extended the landscaping all the way to the side of the house over here. One thing that I was quite proud of, maybe a little too proud of, was this custom ceiling that I put outside of the back porch. And so I really, really like the framing of this with the glass. And so I overlaid the paneling a little bit. And I thought it was a really cool feature. I thought it was really pretty. So I decided to do something like that, but really got adventurous with a lot of my choices here and put some ivy on top there. And so in a nutshell, I mean, that's basically the outside. And then, of course, I can't forget to mention while we're outside, the rooftop observatory. I loved this aspect of it because what else are you using this item for? I hear a lot of simmers say that it's not very useful at all for anything. So I wanted to kind of highlight that. And that was kind of what I was going for in this build in general was, Journey to Batuu has kind of a bad reputation with the Sims community. And this stargazing observatory item is just kind of questionable with how useful it is. And so I was trying to highlight some things that maybe aren't seen as being useful or fun and wanted to put them in a more fun, creative light. And so I thought this was a unique feature to include in the home. Just incorporating some of this glass roof paneling, I thought also gave it kind of this futuristic vibe. So once we get through the front door here, there's a lot to see and kind of, whoops, like I said, still trying to get used to this tab and camera stuff a little bit. So bear with me. Uh, so there's a lot to look at. And so first I wanted kind of like this extravagant, it's a huge home. That was my biggest mistake, honestly, was going with a big house, my first kind of build from scratch and forever. So it took me a long time to fill the space. So trying to figure out how I wanted to separate the space was a big thing. So you have this nice little entryway. I tried to incorporate some art and things like that and flowers with a nice little table with some clutter. And of course a pet bed by the window. But you have your main living space area right here. And I, of course, had to put a big projector screen. So this is kind of an ode to what we have currently. And my partner and I's apartment here, we have a huge TV projector right here. We're in the living space right now, but we have something just like this up on the wall. And so I was kind of doing an ode to that, but it kind of gave this futuristic tone. And I wanted to do something a little bit different with the color scheme. So the color scheme is kind of like this weird brownish pink color. And I tried to combine it with orange, which I don't think you would normally think to put those two colors together, but I think it worked out really well in this situation and with the way I did it here. And I carried it over into this library kind of book nook area that I really love. I love like a good book space, even though I personally, I guess, don't read very much, but maybe that's why I like the idea of them so much. And then over here, we have the kitchen. And so I tried to tie in that orange color throughout over into the kitchen space with some blue, which it carries through the rest of the home. So the wall color is blue and that carries into the kitchen area here. So it's just a lot of clutter. I tried to use as many of the Journey to Batuu stuff as I could from that pack. But of course, as I mentioned, I used several packs. So there's a little bit of everything in this build here. And I really like how this turned out. So having the dark colors, I really wanted to keep it light with all of the accent colors and things of that nature in this area. And then of course you can't pass this huge statue right in the middle of the living space as you enter the home with this grand piano. So carrying that blue orange color throughout the house was kind of the vibe I was going for. And then one thing I love about this is incorporating the cantina items, I guess you could say, because I don't feel like they get used a lot. And I was like, this is kind of a cool vibe to me, and incorporating a cool little area here. And as you can see, the ceiling's a little off, and that's just because I was still trying to get used to building. And then that is you can see both of our dogs right there, actually. So Fletcher just walked by, and then Mia's right here. She's my little miniature schnauzer, and then Fletcher is my partner's dog. So anyway, they're in the background going back and forth because, again, I'm in the living area. I just had a lot of clutter that I was trying to get, again, used to knowing all of the items. So I thought it was kind of a neat idea to kind of combine these little nightstand type things and tables together and put a lot of clutter there. And then as you sift over here, just putting a lot of clutter everywhere was kind of my go-to thing with making it feel more lived in, because that's one thing that I always look for in builds. And then the dining room area I was quite proud of. And I took this item right here, hunk of junk ring, and kind of made an accent wall with it, which I thought was fun, a fun way to use it and incorporate that. And then over here, sticking with like the cantina vibe, I built this like bar section over here, which I thought was kind of cool, a cool little vibe. So this is definitely like a house that you would party and host people in and do a lot of fun things like that and events, is what my thought process was with this. And then I have some lightsabers on display over here as you go into the hallway of like what would be the two main bedrooms and the bathroom. So whenever you go into this first door here on the left, this is what I imagine as a couple of kids' bedrooms, which you can't really see yet. There we go. and so I put like bunk beds here and offset them a little bit. And I went all in with the space vibe a little bit. And so I really like the eclectic vibe of this space, a little science table and a built-in area for that, and some toys all around going with that space vibe. A little nook over here with some craft areas and crafts on the wall. And then you have like the little collectibles over here and some pet aliens. So I thought that was a cool vibe, fun vibe. So when you enter the bathroom space, I love this like orange-red vibe. Again, trying to carry the orange and blue throughout, so the walls are blue still, and blues are like the accent in here. And so I had like this custom flooring that I did with the pattern, and then I wanted the platform bathtub. So I tried to do a diagonal there with some diagonal shelving and things like that with some nice little details. Wanted to bring kind of like that techie science vibe in the bathroom as well. So I used like this decontamination, whatever it's called, hygiene decontamination pod, and put that in here because I thought that matched the vibes a little bit. And then on the other side from the bathroom is where you have the primary bedroom. And I love how this turned out a lot with the reds and blues and orange as well. So again, trying to cater to that color scheme throughout. So over on the immediate right, you have like this nice little workstation area with an accent kind of succulent wall, a little bit with the brick. And then I wanted to create a lot of shelving to put some clutter. Again, trying to learn all the clutter items because there are so many things. So I tried to do as much clutter in this house as possible, which is why I ended up using so many packs. But this, it was the laundry. What is it? When life gives you linens. And I obviously didn't want the linens to be showing, so I just turned it around, and I thought it was kind of like a nice little furniture piece up against the wall because I really like the color. I wanted to bring the blue from the picture and the furniture in a little bit more. And then you have the fireplace over here, some nice lighting put in, and then again the blue accent with the mirror, some art, and a platform bed. So I really wanted to go with that platform theme again with trying to make it, you know, fun and more dynamic. So I like to do more dynamic things in my builds, I feel like. So platforms, especially one house I'm working on right now. Oh my gosh, I have so many platforms. I'm doing an eco-friendly home right now with a ton of platforms. That will be coming out hopefully soon. I've been spending way too much time on it. It's been taking me way too long. And then over here is the bathroom off of the primary. So once you go through, I kind of went with a very different vibe here. And so I liked to imagine the walls were like in the galaxy. So the little white or gray squares are like stars. It's kind of what I was going for. And then I did a red accent in here for a pop of color with the gold. And I thought it was a kind of cool vibe. So again, a bathtub on a platform over here, but you also have a stand-in shower and a cool little counter space over here, trying to do something a little bit different. And then you have the toilet off in its own little room by itself. So really, really like how that kind of turned out in there. And then we'll go up the stairs here. So once you come up the stairs right here, it leads you into what I'm calling the laboratory space. And so it's just kind of like a fun little area for lots of activities and things like that. So you have chess, you have all of those like Star Wars games. What's it called technically? I'm going to sneak over here really quickly. What is this called? Sabek? I don't even know if I'm saying that right. Star Wars fans are going to hate me. But anyways, so I put the pieces, though, from those games all over the table here, just imagining people playing those games. I had a pet. And then all sorts of lab equipment. I like the idea of this person being interested in, like, doing painting. So I did kind of make a little paint nook area for them to enjoy. And again, kind of weird with the glass roof. That's why you can just see the clouds up there. And then from this angle, that's what that looks like. Just kind of like a nice little detail on the wall. Extra space, and then one of the doors out to the landing pad area, and then gaming area right here, that sabak table. I don't know, again, if that's the correct way to say it or not. I'm doing my best here. And all of this is like where the main lab area is. So lots of different, you know, storage and equipment items over here, a little whiteboard. I got into this a lot. I had a lot of fun with this build. I truly did. And then of course you can't skip over the observatory right here, right in the middle of it all. And I really wanted that to be kind of the main staple of the upstairs. And so with that being said, let's take a look at the downstairs basement. So in case you didn't know, the basement entrance is right over here with a ladder. Under the staircase, you go down. And so this is kind of the vibe of the downstairs area. So I really liked this a lot. I don't know exactly what I had in mind, but I have a lot of these planning tables here. I kind of like the locker setup a little bit, a lot of storage and kind of like industrial type things around that you would think would be kind of in, you know, the techie space of that. And then I have this wormhole generator right in the middle down here of the wall right there. And then you have this doorway on a platform. So again, I really, really enjoyed getting to use the platforms. And once you come in, which technically this isn't a functional door, I don't think, it's from debug. But anyway, you could pretend that it is. But you come into the tactical room, and then there's just all sorts of computers and equipment everywhere. I love the screens, and then the hologram, and you have the like the database lookup you get from like the spy career or whatever over here. And so I had a lot of fun kind of piecing this together and what it would look like. And there were a lot of iterations to this room, and I expanded it. And then you have like an artillery and like storage area for weapons. I have a couple of lightsabers right there too. All sorts of weapons and armor and stuff like that in this area. Again, I was not keeping necessarily the lore of Star Wars in mind. So I know with the Stormtroopers, it might not match like what we're going for because, you know, I like being good guys. But, you know, I was just using what I could. based off of what we have available to us in The Sims 4. And so essentially that is the build in its entirety. I really like how it turned out, and I learned so much from this one build. And as you can see, it is a massive house. You could have easily made this like a 5-bedroom home. Even with the upstairs, in addition to that, you could have done probably 6 or 7 bedrooms. This little space over here is like the only kind of like bedroom living space. And then I just kind of wanted all these fun spaces everywhere else throughout the house. And so I wanted it to really have like this outpost kind of vibe with some of the elements in the upstairs being like a laboratory. This is Galactic Outpost Zeta. Again, it's available on the gallery. Just look up my username as my EA ID. So let me know if you download it, you play in it, what you like about it. I'd love to hear your feedback on things. I know the roofing is a little weird, again, with the glass roofs and everything that I had. Ceilings and the circular ceiling part got a little wonky, but other than that, I was very proud of how this build turned out and wanted to do something that was just different. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Goodbye, everyone. I really don't know if I personally have an opinion on the Journey to Batuu pack. I think there's a lot of great and fun, cool items to use in it, but comment down below and let me know what you think about it.